US is giving 450 million worth of equipment for the F-16 sold to Pakistan. And should India consider American FA-18 aircraft for INS Vikrant and for the multi-role fighter aircraft programs? Isn't the US playing double games with India? Vaibhav says the Americans have approved this money for the F-16 upgradation for to fight terrorism. What's your view? Is the US again using Pakistan to hurt India? Yes. So the Americans have announced this deal, this package, $450 million worth of upgrades to the Pakistani F-16 fleet. So these F-16 fighter planes, they date back to the 1970s. They're still a reasonably good fighter plane. Yeah, fourth generation, I think. Yeah, and they were sold to Pakistan, and the condition was that they would be used for anti-terrorism activities. Now, Pakistan itself is a terrorist nation. The whole world knows this. So, how do you expect terrorists to use this equipment for anti terrorism activities? And everybody knows who Pakistan truly wishes to target. Pakistan has only one enemy, which it considers to be its mortal enemy. That's India. Everyone knows these F-16s will be used in a future war, if it ever happens, with India. Right? The target everyone knows is going to be India. And they used the F-16s in the aftermath of the Balakot terrorist the Balakot airstrikes that India did on Pakistani terrorist camps. Right? The Pakistanis used their F-16s against India, and now the Americans are giving this big package to the Pakistanis, almost $500 million worth, to upgrade their old F-16s and make them better. So how do we understand this? What do we make of this? See, it's very clear. Things can be made as complicated as you want or as simple as you want. I like to keep things reasonably simple. This is a hostile action by the US against India. That's what it is. The Americans are arming India's mortal enemy with newer equipment. They are giving upgrades. This is a hostile, unfriendly act against India. There is no other way to see this. Yeah. So all those who say that some people in India are trying to make a small deal of this, that it's not a big thing or anything. It's a big deal. That tells you how much the Americans can be trusted. On the one hand, they say that India and the US have shared values, and we believe in democracy, and we believe in freedom and human rights, and Asia Pacific strategy, common strategy. On the other hand, and they want to use India as a bulwark, as a counterweight to China, and they want India to toe their line. On the other hand, they're doing this. So why have they done this? So there are multiple reasons. First of all, India has not gone along with the US line vis-a-vis the Russia-Ukraine situation. India has maintained an independent foreign policy, and India has not allowed the US to dictate what we should do or what we should not do. Yes. And we have continued purchasing oil from the Russians. The Americans don't like this. And now India is participating in the Vostok exercises in the far east of Russia. Yes. So the Americans again don't like that. So India is sending signals to the Americans that we are going to have an independent foreign policy. We are a sovereign nation, and we will not be told what to do. In response to that, the Americans are doing this and saying, look, this is what we can do to you. We can once again reopen the Pakistan option. In case you don't remember, the Americans financed more than 2 decades of Pakistani terrorism on India. Nobody else financed it. The Americans knew what was happening. The Americans were financing Pakistani terrorism in India. The Mumbai attacks, 2008, 26/11, was a consequence of that. Even in the 1971 war, the Americans tried to bully India. The Americans knew what the Pakistanis were doing. They were conducting genocide in Bangladesh, and the Americans were fine with this. So this is the American track record. They have never been especially pro-India. They've typically been very anti-India. They have used Pakistan to bleed India again and again for decades. Yes. And now they're again showing India that we still have the option to do that. So what should India do about this? India should continue having an independent foreign policy, looking out for India's national interest, seeking a multipolar world, constructing a multipolar world, building India's economy. That's what India should do. What about the FA-18? The Americans have offered the FA-18 to India. It's a fighter plane. Uh, for the INS Vikrant. The INS Vikrant will need about 30 or 35, 40 fighter planes. Typically, it's the number is 30, but we need some extra, right? So 30, 35, 40 or something like that, we need fighter planes. So the Americans have offered their FA-18 fighter plane. Should India go for it in the light of what they are doing, in the light of their aid to Pakistan? So that's something the government needs to take a call on. I have been of the opinion that the Rafale should be considered. The Rafale won't fit into the lifts, the elevators of the INS Vikrant. So maybe some modifications can be done and something can be worked out, or we can see some other option, the MiG-29 or something. Yeah. So the US is playing double games with India. In the US always believes in coercive tactics, coercive methods, arm twisting, bullying, and we are seeing this. We're witnessing this again. Yeah. So yes, the Americans are up to their old tricks again. No matter how you paint this or portray it, this is a hostile and unfriendly action against India.